What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catchpolia again, sitting on the couch, making some money, investing in real estate online. Um, One of the things that I am most excited about when it comes to buying fractional real estate online, and I've mentioned it many times, but I don't think that I've really made the point well enough, is that you can average down your basis over time in a property. And I just want to give you an example of what that means on this one that I've been buying some of over the last couple of days. This is a midterm rental in Fort Worth, um, and it was one of the first properties that I bought some tokens of. I did a video doing some analysis on it. If you want to take a look at that, you can see, at the time there were 27 tokens available at $35. Those were the cheapest tokens that were out there, and there wasn't a liquidity pool at the time, so there was only limit orders out there. If none of that makes any sense to you, you might want to start with one of my earlier videos. Actually, I'll link below the one where I, bought this property and just sort of give you an idea about how that purchase price goes. You might also want to look at some of the staking videos. It explains the liquidity pools a little bit better. There's definitely a lot to learn if you're coming from just regular real estate investing and you're trying to start to buy some fractions online. Um, and that's what I've been trying to share with people, as we go along. But in any case, let me just show you what the opportunity is. At that time, I bought 35 tokens or 27 tokens, all at $35. Based on the analysis I had done, I was very happy at that price point. And so there are a total, when this property was created on the platform, it was broken into 11,877 tokens. Each one of those initially was sold for $50, and it represents, one piece of ownership, one slice or share. These aren't securities though, so I try to avoid saying the word share. Although maybe it's still okay. I don't know. But anyway, it's an ownership interest, and each token is what they're called on this platform. But so if you take the amount of money that you spent per token, you multiply it by all the outstanding tokens, and it gives you an implied price that you paid for that property. And so, this all of my analysis here is just ignoring the fees that are charged. I look at those kind of like paying the closing costs when you buy a property. Obviously it's going to go into my decision making, but I think I already have too many columns here, so I'm just trying to simplify it a little bit. But so, that implied a $415,000 purchase price. Like I said, I was very happy with that price. It was one of the first ones that I found. It's not currently performing. You can see it's not, there's no rental yield. It has been rented, but they're currently refilling the operating reserve, which is why I think it's a big discount. But when you look at the value of the property itself, I think it's preposterous that it's trading this low. I think that we've actually had 3 different real estate agents weigh in on what it should sell for, and none of them came up with a price anywhere near this low. And so one of the things that we're looking at as the owners of this is possibly selling it. It is the goal right now is to have it listed for sale after the current midterm tenant moves out. Whether or not that actually happens is yet to be seen. The agreeing to stuff like this as a group of dispersed owners, it turns out to be a little bit difficult. But that's a story for another day. So once I establish a price that I'm happy to pay for this, then I just keep track of it. And whenever a property shows up, or whenever tokens would show up that were below that, I'd go and buy them. That's why some days, I had a day I just purchased one because someone just put one token up for sale, one where I did 6. And then a few days ago, they added a liquidity pool, which means that instead of doing just limit orders, now all of a sudden I can click on this market order button and just buy whenever I want, at whatever the current, market price is. And so over the last few days, my purchases have ramped up quite a bit. I think this was, probably represented the last 2 months. And then from here down is all just in the last couple of days. Well, you can't see this. The function's broken at the moment, but if this was working, you'd see some wildly fluctuating prices. And it's because it's a new liquidity pool. So there's owners that have owned this for a long time, and maybe they wanted to sell, but for whatever reason they couldn't. There just weren't other buyers at the price point because it looked like it wasn't really performing, which it's kind of not. But if you if you're looking at the price that you want to pay for the property itself and what we'll liquidate it for, to me it seems like it was listed at a bargain. So anyway, as those came up, as people sold into the pool, it pushes the price point down, and so every time there was a dip, I'd buy a few tokens. Whatever I could buy, whatever number I could buy that wouldn't push the. Um, Let me show you something. And when you put, we've talked about slippage before, but let's say I tried to buy 50 tokens right now. I preview this, and it's going to give me a slippage number, meaning an amount that the price is going to go up because of the size of the order. So, like, if I'm trying to buy 50, it's going to move the price up $2.93 per token. That's clearly way too high. I don't want to, although even though I'm pretty happy with the $35 price point, um, I don't have unlimited money to buy these. And so my goal has been to continually ratchet down, um, my basis on this. I'm trying to not, uh, I've been trying to only put enough into this platform at the moment to experiment. It's not a huge portion of my net worth, and I don't want it to be until I'm really comfortable with how everything works. Um, but I'm trying to put enough into to really just see. This is one where I'm really trying to push it a little bit and see where what we can do. And so I've gotten up to 100 tokens. You can see I've bought some pretty cheaply, and now I'm only buying ones that will lower my average price per token. I'm at 32.94 right now, which is just a really low price point. That's my average price per token. It's implying a 391,000 total sale price of that property. One thing, as fluctuations continue, if there gets to be times where the tokens are trading at significantly above this $35 price point, and I can sell out including fees, and I'm selling for more than that, I might do that to just continue, and then when it comes back down, buy some more. This is an opportunity that you just don't have when you're buying real estate in real life. I actually have bought and sold the same property a number of times in the past. Strangely, where I work with a lot of investors, and so sometimes the same properties, traded hands more than once. But it's very rare for someone to buy in and out of the same property repeatedly, and definitely not over the course of just a couple of days. One expression I hear quite a bit by real estate investors in general is your basis is forever. When they say that, the point they're trying to make is your original purchase price. It's really important to get that as low as possible because you're stuck with whatever that is forever. But when you're using a platform like this and you have daily price fluctuations, or even like minute by minute, or whatever the timing is, um, it just creates this opportunity to where uh, this is you can really just over time keep ratcheting this down. And I think that whether or not we sell this property or it becomes one that begins to throw off some cash again, I'm going to get tremendous benefit from lowering, having a lower and lower average token price, and I can do that by over time selling when it's higher, buying more when it's lower. Um, and all the while, being comfortable with the fact that if we ever go ahead and liquidate it, whatever price, I'm looking at, uh, is something that that my math and me looking at it in real life is justified. And I think that's one of the things that it makes these platforms somewhat like trading in the stock market, where you can ratchet up and down your basis by buying and selling a lot. But the difference is here, at least for me, I just have much more confidence in what that actual intrinsic value of the token is, right? Like what the piece is worth because I have a great sense of what the property itself is worth. Where when you're doing this with stocks, you're kind of, I think it's much more difficult to put a value on a business. I know people do it every day, but I think that it is, um, something that has a lot more factors. It's really difficult to, for you to do, especially if you're looking at a number of different businesses. And so I think it's one of the things that's the most interesting to me about trading properties and trading fractions of properties online. Lofty is the one I've done this the most on. I think that, in theory, you could do it on Landa because they have trading on there. Although I'm taking my money off of there. I've mentioned that in previous videos, and it seems like they actually have sent it back to me now, though it hasn't hit my account yet. If you go in their Discord, apparently trading is down somewhat regularly, and it doesn't seem to be as robust, and so I haven't been doing that on that platform. I don't think you can do it at all on Arrived. It doesn't seem like there's no way to do it on ground floor. At the moment, you can't do it on Mogul, although they say in the future you'll be able to buy and sell on the secondary market. Although I think they're going to set the pricing. At least that sounds like that's what their plan is today. So for this sort of strategy, Lofty seems to be the only option. Although Arc 7 was one more that I've done a little bit of research in. It seems like there's some trading in that, although not nearly as much. So at the moment, this seems to be the most built out platform to do this. I've found, well, let me see. What do I have? I've got 22 properties in here. All of them I have different reasons for having bought some of them, but several of them I have this same strategy where I'm slowly ratcheting up my ownership when I can. Some of them I've showed you videos of when I originally bought them. Some of them were just sort of opportunistic when prices were low, and I just I don't think I did a video on these two tokens that I bought in Pagewood. This Pagewood Ave property, but they just popped up. They were cheaper. Somebody had listed two for cheaper than what they've been historically selling for. It was a property I had looked at and was comfortable with. So I bought those real quick. Like I said, I don't think I did a video, but I'm trying to be as transparent as possible with all of my, all my activity on here, to just kind of show. One thing I wanted to point out too is even though I've been ratcheting down my average price at the moment, if you look at the platform, it thinks that I'm losing money because the market price right now, it says 32.84. I couldn't actually buy tokens that cheaply. I maybe could buy one right now, but if you buy just a couple, the slippage pushes it up, and that's why I haven't bought another batch of them. I'm waiting for someone to sell into it, so that I can do that same thing again. Pick up some more. One of the reasons too that I'm trying to do this in a property that we are trying to sell is so that I can quickly take advantage of the fact that I've gotten a discount. When you have a property that is throwing off cash, your discount is great. It gives you a slightly higher yield. Sorry, my recorder froze there for 1 second. I was just saying, getting the discount on one where you're getting cash flow, it boosts your yield, but it's not, the real benefit isn't really experienced right away. Where, when you buy something at a discount that we're about to immediately sell, I could get a significant, chunk of cash relative to the investment in a somewhat short period of time. I mean, real estate, it's this won't sell really quickly out there in the real world, but I think that even if it's 6 months from now, you can double your ROI when you look at your annual, to annualize it, right? If it took me 6 months to, say these sell in real life and I get a 20% return, well, annualized, that's really 40%. And if I can reinvest it and do it a second time in that period of time, you can actually potentially get those types of returns. Now, one of the things that I think is, a downside at the moment to the platform is it is, there are only so many properties and there's only so much buying and selling you can do without pushing that price up. I mean, I just showed you, you can only buy, if you buy 50 tokens in that property right now, it's significantly moving the needle as far as what the price per token is. So, as the platform grows, um, yeah, I could do this with a number of properties at the same time. But at the moment, it's not. There aren't just so many that you could do this. I say that I don't know. It would depend. I'm thinking about like if you wanted to deploy a significant amount of capital, like what you would do. If you're buying properties in real life, right? Any given time you might be putting 50 or $100,000 down into an investment property. If I had, thrown that much onto here, what that would look like. Yeah, maybe I could. Maybe I'd be more active, on the Madison Ave property or uh, this Ridge Top one. I think there's probably some potential, but you're just, it's not, you're not getting the steep discounts that you're getting in some of these more thinly, ones that have less tokens. This was one that I've been buying into because it's had, quite a bit of discounts over time relative to what I believe the value is in real life. And so, there are a few that I'm doing it with. I think that it is. Oh, what happened there? So there's a few that I've been doing it with. I'd have to be doing it with quite a few more if I were trying to do this with a significant amount of capital. But I think, what's sort of interesting to me is I think that over time I will move more money into platforms, at least like this one. As I said, I'm not 100% comfortable with it yet. Um, they are really working to get a lot of the bugs out of it. And over time, I think it'll turn into a platform where I'll be comfortable, putting a significant amount of money. Um, for now, I've mentioned it a few times, but I'm definitely more comfortable with ground floor. I think that's a spot where, um, over time, I'll just keep putting chunks in until, well, maybe just forever. I mean, I think that's one. It's one that I really like, as always, just because I like it and I think it's good for me. You definitely want to do your own due diligence on that, um, because it is, it's still a non-traditional type investment and it comes with maybe some hidden risks, right? I mean, one of the things that a lot of people like to think about is, if it looks like you're getting these just like, for example, some of these properties, I'm getting a 17% rental yield on this, right? Which is really fantastic. Or, the universal lending DAO, same thing, 17%. I think this duplex, I'm getting a 20% rental yield. You don't just get these outsized returns without there being some risk that you are taking on. And one of the things that, they could be risks that we know. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we do a lot of due diligence on the properties is because, is to try to mitigate some of the known risks. But there are some unknown risks or risks that, we can't really just do diligence around. Like, for example, the risk of the platform itself, right? Like that if there's some problem, sure, I might still have legal ownership in these properties if the platform went down, but actually coordinating with other buyers or other owners in the property could become, close to impossible, and then that really impair the value of my ownership. So, in any case, I just wanted to mention that, when I do get excited, I start to really, look at some of the benefits, like I talked about, where we can just, start to manipulate our basis a lot, right? Like, I mean, like it just creates a lot of opportunity to make what I think are going to be really incredible returns if done well. But and so whenever I start to talk about that, I want to just make sure that everybody realizes that those don't come with no risks, right? And so that's why at the moment I'm putting enough on that I can use to experiment, but I would not I'm certainly not recommending to anybody that they put their whole net worth on there, or whatever their life savings is up till today. I mean, I would never do that. I wouldn't do that in any investment. But I'd be extra careful today versus like an S&P 500 index fund or something. Like some of the more traditional things. There's risk with those as well, but it's um, this being new, and uh, that there's no telling what I haven't thought of, right? Like the things that could go wrong that I've never really even expected. How hard it would it be for my account to get hacked, or my crypto wallet to get hacked, and my property tokens to disappear. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know about that. Obviously, I'm not terribly worried about it because I am starting to invest money on here. But, it's just some of the things to think about, right? But so I think, just to wrap it up, I think that there are just really interesting opportunities and ways to use this site to really juice the returns on what might otherwise just be sort of a ho hum asset, right? I mean, it's not these properties; they're not like the ones on Mogul where like you see. I don't know. I think I'm really a lot more excited about some of those individual properties. I think the way they picked them out and whatnot. You might have a little bit more wow factor with some of those properties, not all of them. But I think that uh, that's not necessarily. I think the opportunities on the platform themselves, this platform itself, is what's being created. And then there are some properties that are, pretty great deals just in and of themselves. If I could just buy that whole property, pull it off the platform for the price that they're on here, I'd want to do that. In any case, I think that's all I've got for today. Just as usual, I would just keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.